Good morning. It's Friday, September 27th. And let me ask you, have you ever felt like a prisoner or like you've just been carried away somewhere, maybe spiritually, maybe emotionally, and you ended up in a place you didn't want to be, but you couldn't go back? You were kind of stuck there? Well, I've been asked to read Jeremiah 29:11, which many people are familiar with just this one verse. It says, the Lord, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Well, we get really excited when we read that verse. But you got to read more than that sometimes. Well, all the time, actually. And what's happening is the people of Israel were captured and um, taken away. And so they were in Babylon and they were captive there. And so, first, God tells them through the prophet Jeremiah, he said, build houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat their fruit while you're there. Take wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, so they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. He wants them to become more there while they're in captivity. He wants them to do their best to increase themselves. And he says, this is interesting, and seek the peace of the city which I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to the Lord for it, for in its peace you will have peace. In other words, he's saying, make yourself at home. I mean, apparently they weren't like really bad slaves, they were just captive. They couldn't go back. And he says, make yourself at home, build your family, live your life just as if you were in your home. And he says, and then pray for peace for the city that you're in that's actually holding you captive. Pray for the peace, because as that city becomes peaceful, you will feel the peace. And so then he says, after 70 years are completed at Babylon, I will visit you. So he's telling them, I'm leaving you here for 70 years, and then I'm going to come visit you, and I'll perform my good word toward you and cause you to return to this place, their home. 70 years. 70 years. He's telling them they have to wait 70 years. They're not going to be free for 70 years. Can you imagine? It's always in God's timing, not ours. And in this case, he wanted them there for a reason. He wanted them to have the motivation to increase, to become more. He wanted his people of Israel to become more, so that and to have peace and to seek peace where they were. In other words, you're going to be living there for 70 years. 70 years is in the Bible, after all the older ones, it's kind of the length of a man's life. So some of them probably didn't get to see this all coming about, because if they were already older, they may have died in the process. But he wanted them to be at peace. He wanted them to have peace. He wanted the place that they were at to have peace. And then he says, after 70 years, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me and go and pray to me, and I will listen to you, and you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I will be found by you, says the Lord, and I will bring you back from your captivity. And I will gather you from all the nations where you ended up and bring you back to the place where you call home. I think that we can relate to this because, in some ways, sometimes we do feel like we've been carried away somewhere and we feel like we're never going to find that place called home again. It doesn't mean we have to go back to our childhood home, but it means where is home? I spent many years trying to figure out where home was. And, after a number of years, it comes to you. You finally realize the home is in your heart. The home is where God is. The home is where God puts you. And it might not be tomorrow. It's in His timing. It might be a week, it might be 70 years. But if you believe, and He was trying to get them to finally turn to Him and to pray to Him. It took 70 years for them to learn this. And He will listen to them and He will be found by them. That's a wonderful promise. But I think we have to be careful that we don't think everything's going to happen tomorrow, and if it doesn't, then I'm not going to believe anymore. Because the way God works is the way He works. His own timing, His own ways, His own, He turning into a captive to become a good thing. He wanted them to increase and to find peace and to bring peace to that city. I can't imagine how that would have turned out. The people that actually captured them saw them bringing peace, praying for their city. God's ways are so mysterious and so awesome. And we should not try to figure it all out sometimes and not try to expect it. We might pray for it. And then if we truly, truly in our hearts believe in Him and pray to Him, then He will be found by us. But if we're looking for, well, if this happens, I'll believe in you. If this happens, I'll give you everything I have. If this happens, no. We have to just live the life, believe in God, and understand that He has promises and blessings and treasures and rewards for us, but it's all in His time. In the meantime, we have to have peace, and we have to pray for the peace where we're at, and we have to do our best. So you have a great day, have a great weekend, and God bless you.